What's up everybody, back with another raid guide, and today we're taking a look at the Remnant of Ner'zhul on Mythic difficulty. I'll be going over most of the mechanics, how to deal with them, and our overall tactic for this fight. Setup wise, 2 tanks, 5 to 6 healers, and 12 to 13 DPS. After the nerfs or changes to the fight, any damage check there was is pretty much gone. So a lot of guilds have used 6 healers for their first kills. We did it with 5, which is a bit spicier, so if you want to play it safe, just use 6 healers. Now for the master spell strat that we used, ideally you want 2 priests for it. The MD strat is doable with just 1, and the fight itself is doable without any of them, but it does get a lot harder if you don't have any master spells at all. But we'll cover this in a bit. So what's new for old Ner'zhul on Mythic? As always, everything's been tuned up, an extra orb of torment, and even the knockback distance from Malevolence dispel has been increased. However, following every shatter, which is 80%, 60%, and 30%, Ner'zhul will drop an armor piece that will fly around the platform and duplicate one of Ner'zhul's abilities. At 80%, he will drop the Helm of Suffering that duplicates the tank mechanic Suffering. So post 80%, you will have a Suffering beam going between the Helm and boss, as well as tank and boss. And tanks will use this to their advantage later on in this fight. At 60%, Ner'zhul drops his Gauntlet of Malice, which duplicates Grasp of Malice. So when boss casts Grasp, you'll get an extra cone going from wherever the gauntlet is on the platform. Not much to do about that, just don't be in the cone unless you want to fly. You will also get a 3rd Orb of Torment following 60%. And lastly is the Rattle Cage of Agony, or a chest plate. This one will duplicate Malevolence on itself rather than a player, so it can't be dispelled. Meaning once it's up, you will have to deal with the 2 Malevolence dispels on the raid, and following that run over to the chest or Rattle Cage of Agony and wait for its Malevolence to go off. And while you're waiting there, feel free to check out my Twitch. With that said, how do we deal with all of this? Starting with the Malevolence and Mass Dispels, the idea behind it is that you Mass Dispel it so one player is safe and one gets knocked off the platform, and that player needs to be able to get back, using things like Disengage, Alter Time, Night Fae Blink, etc, etc. Every class except Priest, Paladin, and Shaman can do this with their own toolkit, and if you're Goblin or Void Elf, it works as well. And like I said, Night Fae Covenant can do it also. So in most raid setups, you're gonna have the vast majority being able to get back, so when Malevolence goes out, the player that can get back from the knockback goes to the ledge and looks out, and the player that can't get back goes a few yards behind that player and also looks out. We used a weakora to make this a little bit easier, and I will link it in the description below. This weakora checks if your class can get back when they get knocked off, or if you can't. If you can get back, it assigns you to go far, and if you can't, it says go close. If both of you can survive the knock, it chooses the one with the less valuable CD to go far. And if neither can get back, like 2 shamans, it will instead assign you to do the good old ping pong strat most of us used in Heroic. You can also try the Mass Dispel Grip Cheese, where you have the priest that Mass Dispels also queue up Life Grip on one of them that can't get back, and it should fire off the Life Grip before the priest itself gets knocked away, because you can't Life Grip when you're knocked, but if you can get it off just after the Mass Dispel, you have time to grip them. I haven't tried this myself, but I've heard other guilds use this for the moments where you have 2 targets that cannot get back. Now for the Orbs and Suffering, and this is mostly for you tanks out there. Post 80%, when you get Suffering from Helmet to Boss and Boss to Tank, you can use this to your advantage. When there's 2 orbs up, you stand between the orbs but close to the left orb, as you can see here. Doing it this way means the boss will already be between the orbs when you're able to damage them. Now when there's 3 orbs spawning, you want to keep a lookout for the first orb that spawns, pull boss near, and when the second orb spawns, you want to position boss on top of it, and then you aim your beam at the 3rd orb that spawns to the right of the middle one. Doing it this way makes it very simple, and you'll never miss an orb. We always use the non-active tank for one of the orbs, and then a demon hunter or druid for the one that's left, as they can do it pretty fast even with the slow you get from the orb. With that said, let's break down the encounter a bit. On pull, we just tank boss-ish where he spawns and blast away. When you get the first set of orbs, you want to nuke him down as fast as possible and always throw him off before you deal with Malevolence. So orbs spawn, you nuke him down, throw him off, then move into position for Malevolence and Mass Dispel, and you should always do this for any set of orbs. Orbs then Malevolence. Now for the Malevolence, we had one of our healers always put out a world marker a bit before the Malevolences, and we usually threw the orbs off near that mark so we'd be close to it when we needed to mass the spell. Now make sure you don't mark right in front of the helmet, as it will fire off Suffering on the entire raid if you do. Keep in mind that one tank will usually get Suffering during the dispel, so you want to wait for that to go off before you actually mass the spell, so the tank can aim it away from the raid before moving into position if it's needed. And again, this will be the case for the entire fight. Now apart from this, the fight is pretty straightforward. You dodge swirls, dodge cones, deal with orbs before dispelling, and never push the boss to shatter during Malevolence or shortly after. And this again is at 80, 60 and 30%. The Malevolence dispel hurts a lot and shatter hurts even more, so overlapping those is not amazing. So if you're about to get Malevolence and boss is close to either 80, 60 or 30%, stop DPS, press escape, deal with Malevolence, then push the boss when the raid is healthy. And well, that's pretty much it for this fight. Now if you have any questions at all about this encounter, hit me up in the comments or become a patron or Twitch sub and get access to the Stankie Discord, where you can find raid weakauras, healing notes, and a ton of helpful people. And don't forget the usual stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, it really helps me out. I'm also streaming all of our progression on Twitch, so make sure to check that out, it's on Mondays and Tuesdays. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.